Before we can start talking about how to calculate area, perimeter, volume for geometric figures, we want to quickly define a few of the terms that we have in geometry. Now, there's three terms that we don't really define, and that's a point, a line, and a plane. So a point is just going to be a single place somewhere in a coordinate plane, but it's not going to have a formal definition. A line, so here's a point. A line is just going to be all the points that are on the same line. And then a plane is, imagine that this is drawn in 3 dimensions. You have your plane. So we can't really do any formal definitions here. They are just terms that we start with, and then we build the rest of geometry from here. We can define a line segment as being a portion of a line that's bounded by 2 fixed points. So you've got 2 points, you have the line segment between them. Then we can define a ray as a fixed boundary point and the portion of the line to one of its sides. And then we can talk about an angle as the amount of rotation of a ray about that endpoint. And so your angle is going to be that rotation in between. We have one definition here for a complete rotation of a ray, and we will call that 360 degrees, or you would write that 360 and then the degree symbol. Sometimes we will talk about what's called a straight angle, and it's going to look like a line, but when we're actually talking about that angle there for that straight line, it's going to be 180 degrees. So a straight angle is what we'll call a 180 degree angle. And then a right angle, we'll put a little square there to indicate that it's a right angle, and that has 90 degrees. If 2 lines meet so that the angle between them is a right angle, then we call those 2 lines perpendicular. Lines that are in the same plane but do not intersect are called parallel. So your perpendicular lines are going to meet there at a 90 degree angle. Your parallel lines will never intersect. We can define our angles based on the measure of their angle. So if you have an angle that's between 0 and 90 degrees, we call that an acute angle. And that's just something that measures between 0 degrees and 90 degrees, something less than a right angle. And then an obtuse angle is going to be something between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So it's between that right angle and that straight angle. If you have 2 angles that together have a sum of 90 degrees, we will call those 2 angles complementary. And if the sum of the 2 angles is 180, then we'll call those supplementary. And then finally, one of the tools that you can use to measure angles, among other things, is called a protractor. And it's sometimes made out of wood, sometimes made out of plastic. Occasionally you'll have them out of metal, but it's just a tool that helps you measure angles.